Greetings, Imhotep, Uncle Justin Ibneb, Duanecha, Namaste, Om, Asante Sana, Assalamu Alaikum, Hi. Greetings, as I said before, good day to you. If I, again, as I always say, if I miss any other greetings, excuse me, but just a normal greeting, in the most authentic way. So I hope you've been having a good day so far. I have. I'm always having a fairly decent day, or a good day, I should say. But I wanted to go back over something that I talked about previous, because I've had some discussions with a few people, and they asked me some questions, and I've also seen some videos that people are touching on, and it seems like the awareness of the source of origin, or origin of source, or how many other people may call these many different names and terminologies and forms that all point to what already is. The awareness and recognition of it is starting to blossom once again, and people are becoming more aware and awakening, as you say, as many say. The usage and pointing of awakening, or experience of it, is becoming more and more, what's the word I'm looking for? It's just being made aware of more. Let's put it that way. There probably is never going to be a word that could actually encompass it, as I said before, or describe it successfully, because it exists before words. So no word will ever encompass this that already is, that you and I already are, and not only are a part of, but is a part of us, as the I that am. Now, I'm going to try again to go into some detail to try to clear it up, because there was some questions that came to me, and I see that some people might, everybody has their perspective or projection of what they may believe or feel or resonate with what this can represent. Truth is, there is no technically there is no way that it is not an association to all projections. I guess that's the best way to put it, because it's the source of projection itself. It's the source of ideas and imagination. It's the source of creation and destruction. It's the source of existing and non-existing. It's the source of life and death, experience, no experience. It is the source of the duality and the non-duality. You see, it is, as I said before, in a way to try to express a visualization that you can resonate with or grasp. It's like the foundation that the canvas is laid on. And when I mean canvas, I mean the canvas in which life, death, heaven, hell, duality, non-duality, existence, non-existence, all of these things and experiences are painted upon. That canvas has a foundation. This is the foundation. This that we speak of, that is referred to often as the I am that I am. So there are many that this is directly connected with. And there are many representations that all point to this. You see? So when it is said, I am that I am, that means that this is all. It's like they refer to as a pluribus unum, of many, one as many. it is the same thing. So when you say I am that I am, it encompasses everything. That is why that phrase I am that I am is seemingly so enigmatic, because it encompasses everything. It is the best, or one of the best, attempts to describe what already is. You see, as Muji often tells, and others often say, I is your first name, or I am is your first name. It's the first attempt to describe you, you see? It's the first attempt to describe the presence that you already are. This presence that is everywhere and nowhere all at once. In fact, to even be clearer, it is the source of everywhere and also nowhere and also all at once. It is the source in which everything, every notion, every thought, every experience, every non-experience, awareness itself, to know that is an experience or not an experience, all of this comes from this source. You see? So when they say I am that I am, it is pointing to what already is, which is why many of Elohim, or those who travel amongst the realms, as they, can be seen or called cosmic or stars or galactic or intergalactic, or, of this earth and even not of this earth, of any earth or not of any earth, of any physical form or non-physical form. You see, these terms that we use, we're often taught these terms and we think on the perception of just one facet of these terms, but these terms are far more related to things that we're not currently aware of. So it's kind of, once you at a certain point, you're not aware of how deep these things go, so to speak, or how all encompassing just a simple word can be, based on the awareness of the perceiver of the word, or the knower of the word, or experiencer of that word. Even what I'm saying now can be perplexing to some people, because our experiencing based on our perceptions and programming can limit us, the vastness that we already are. We are seemingly believing that we are broken down into a smaller form of our true self, called a personality, or a level of identity. Let's put it that way. So this level of identity, called a person, struggles to grasp the vast truth that the awareness operating the person actually is, if that makes sense. When you're using your physical world related mind and you believe that that's all there is, then these things seem to be far beyond your reach. And the truth is, nothing's far beyond your reach, because everything comes from you. And when I say you, I mean the consciousness that allows you to say, I am that I am, even. That which was present before the beginning and still present after the end. This is why the term Alpha and Omega is also all-encompassing. You see? Because that which says I am, first name, Alpha and Omega, description of experience, that which says that is this vastness in which I that am and Alpha and Omega and the perception of it all happens within. I try to slow it down, and I hope you follow me this far, I hope you're still with me. That which can even say all of this is what we refer to, and what many of the ancestors and what you call gods and Anu and the Naka, or the Anu and the Naki, the Skywalkers, the Bantu, the Zulu, the Uhuru, the Urantu, the Elohim, all of the hymns or the Ims. Im is another way of saying I am. So the suffix at the end of the word or the term or attempt to describe is actually relating to a form of origin or a sense of location, locale, or representation, dimension, awareness, what have you. Is an attempt to describe its prefix or its terminology that comes before it. See what I'm saying? So when you talk about the Elohim, there is a lineage of the Els. And when I say lineage, that can also represent, here earthly wise, it represents a family or a bloodline. But beyond earthly wise, it represents a type of representation, or you can say species or appearance or level of awareness. That can even apply as well. That resonates as well. But the El or him, the type or species or family of Els that recognizes the I that am and are aware and awakened to the I that am as the presence they are, the Elohim, are also related to and also referred to as angelics and angels. Now, the worldly term angel, as far as referring to spiritual or metaphysical, where you're talking about beings that are referred to as skywalkers, sky roamers, which are referred to in all so-called civilizations or cultures. They're also referred to as gods in some ways. But there is a direct correlation in relation to the mathematical terminology called angles, because math is a form of communication. Math is also a level of awareness, broken down into, like, as if you would look at it through a microscope, so to speak. You see the macrocosm and the microcosm. So when you scope out or perceive all of this, the best thing to recognize ultimately is that this is all part of the I that am, the source of origin of source. Or if you would refer to a mathematical or scientific way, for those who are advanced in mathematics and science, it will be referred to as the multiple singularity of singular multiplicity. That is still, to some, a complete enigma. To others who are still at a certain level of worldly awareness and are there having a perceived limitation of their mind, that their mind cannot open up and grasp this, to them it would seem like I just said a bunch of gibberish. They have no clue of what I'm saying, because you're trying to think with this instead of experience with this that always is. And when I'm pointing to these areas, I'm not speaking of the body. I'm speaking of the operator of the body and the observer, which can observe through this body or any other form that is not through this body. I'm trying to speak slowly. This is not an attempt to make anyone feel bad, because this is not about feeling good or bad. This is about the origin of feeling itself. This is about what allows you to be capable of even feeling in the first place. This is about what allows you to even notice first place, second place, third place, fourth place, or no place at all. This is about that. the most important thing for you to ever remember or become aware of once again is your true self, your true sense of origin, and where you are in all of this. That is the most important thing to come to awareness of. When we say source of origin, origin of source, what can say that? What had to be already present at such a broad awareness and presence, at such a subtle, deep recognition, yet so simple that it can just be able to notice that there is such thing as a source of an origin and an origin of a source. There is such thing as a multiple singularity of singular multiplicity. There is a such thing as I am that I am. There is such a place and location of before, beginning, and ending. There is an awareness that even precedes location, position, feeling, senses. And when I say senses, I mean the ability to know what's up and what's down, what's in and what's out, what's left and what's right, what's forward and what's back, what's front and what's rear. You know, orientation. If you were to, in this vessel, if you were to go out of space and you were to be left out there in what you call no gravity, what do they call that? Anti-gravity or spacewalk, they call it. How are you going to walk in a place where there's no ground foundation? You see? Because your level of relation to dimensions, or any mention, which means a form of measurement, your ability to measure what's up from down, what's left from right, what's in from out. You must have references in order to establish this level of awareness. There must be some sort of reference. Well, the origin of reference itself is what we're speaking of. We're not just speaking of, okay, I know I'm up or down because I'm on a flat plane level, or what appears to be a flat plane level, which allows me to be able to relate up from down, or in from out, or left from right. You know, I'm in outer space, so to speak, which means beyond this atmosphere of this planet, so far to where I can see that it's in a form of a globe, but you're still able to see it, see? So that allows you to establish a form of reference, to establish an awareness of your location. So you have that planet Earth, and you're looking at it, and you see that it's here. So when you see the light that the sun gives off, and you see the moon next to the planet, then you have a sense of reference. These are objects or appearances that allow you to establish a sense of reference of where you may be. But all of this is still phenomenal. As Mooji says and many others say, it's all still phenomenal. Even the planets, even the stars, even the lights. It's all phenomenal. What does that mean? That means it's changing, always changing. But the only constant is that in which all of this happens within. That constant is the awareness that you are, not the body that you're operating currently while you're out of space on your spacewalk. Not the vessel or body or avatar, whatever you want to call it. It's not that. That is another form of reference. That is a mechanism that allows you to even become aware of certain levels of reference. You see, when you go into the Earth's atmosphere, this body allows you to have a deeper sense of experiencing of references, locations, dimensions, which allows you to have what you call a life or experience on another level, different levels. You see? but some of the most heavenly or greatest or spiritual or metaphysical or divine, whatever term you want, some of the most divine experiences is the awareness that you exist before the body and you will exist after the body. The body is a tool and a mechanism, a beautiful divine tool and mechanism called a temple or a vessel or like we said before, all many names. But the experience that is called the body is a tool, a mechanism, not to be disregarded or discarded or disrespected or not cherished or honored. It is divine. It deserves honor. It deserves cherish. There cannot be many other forms that can actually match it to a T, so to speak. There are many attempts to duplicate it. But what is natural cannot be duplicated unless it is duplicated by nature itself. What is the source of that nature? The same consciousness that allows you to say, I am that I am. Or even perceive the notion of I am that I am. The same consciousness that allows you to say, I can see this body. But can I see what sees the fact that I can see this body? I'm going to say it slowly again. I can see my body, but can I actually lay eyes on what enables me to see my body, or even see the fact that I can see my body? That is so subtle and so deep within. It is a direct connection to what you refer to as God. Because you and I do not plug our fingers in the wall sockets or any generator. We don't even plug our fingers into the earth to get power or energy, so that when we wake up again in the morning, we're energized and we can go about our day. It doesn't happen that way. And it's so subtle, we never really pay enough attention to that. That why is that? We can go deep into science about it and say, each nucleus of any neutron or proton or atom or what have you contains billions of supernovas in just one nucleus. But where does that power come from? You can't describe it because you're trying to relate what is non-physical into something that is physical. And that's not possible, because what is not physical came before what is physical. In fact, everything that is physical that we see now could not exist without what came before it, which is the non-physical. That non-physical's origin is the consciousness that you and I and everything is. And the reason why I say it is this consciousness is because it all comes from this consciousness. There is no way it cannot be it. You see? My voice comes from me. You can duplicate my voice, but when I'm standing in front of you in person and I'm speaking, you know this is my voice. If you're familiar with me enough and you've heard my voice enough, you know it is me. There's a distinct signature that is my voice. Well, in an attempt to describe this isness, or I am that I am, all of this that we experience, that we can perceive, and even what we cannot perceive, all of this that even many of you may call the Matrix, all of it comes from this I am that I am, this God supreme consciousness or awareness that always is, that when many of you in religion refer to as the omnipresence, the omnipotence, the omniscient, the all-pervading, all-saturating, foundation of foundation, which is also in reference or very much like saying source of origin, origin of source, or I am that I am. I'm hoping that what I'm saying is not perplexing people, because the more I seem to try to explain it, the more it sounds like riddles, because where we're speaking from is the source of everything. You see? So, trying to have an understanding or understanding of what is beyond inner and under, with the mind of a world, but you're trying to think of what the origin of the world is with a worldly mind. It's very uncomfortable and it's seemingly difficult at first. But when you quiet yourself and quiet all the noise in the mind that is brought about by way of the ego, when you stand your ground, so to speak, within your own mind, and tell your ego to be silent, and even when it refuses to be silent, you ignore it long enough to hear yourself, to hear your own silence. And you grow used to, you do it enough in repetition to become used to sitting with your own silence. That still, small, silent voice that can still speak to you without moving its mouth. Because before your body existed, it spoke. And it did not have what you and I call a mouth to speak with. So you technically don't even really need a mouth to speak. You just need these things in this body to interact with this physical world to certain levels. But you speak without a mouth. You see without eyes. You hear without ears. You feel without the body and the senses. Because you are presence, pre-senses, before senses. You are that which exists before the senses itself. Senses are tools and mechanisms to enhance your experience. Just as this body, this beautiful, divine vessel, is used to enhance your experiencing. No matter the complexion or paint job or color. No matter all the nuances and bells and whistles. The origin, what's most important, is the operator and the observer. They are one. And you are this oneness, which is also known as the operator and the observer, or the generator. So, I'm trying to find ways to break it down, and there is no real way to break down what is, or the I am that I am. It's something that you are, and it is to be recognized or come to an awakenness or awareness of. It is not really a concept that you can intellectually grasp and be complete and whole in its understanding of this intellectual form. Intellectuality is just an expression, a form. But this is the origin of expression and form. So intellectuality, forms, names, all of it, could never encompass it. So you will not gain a full understanding or understanding just by way of intellect or knowledge. This precedes knowledge, so it is beyond knowledge. Knowledge came from this. This does not come from knowledge. You cannot gain or lose this from knowledge or lack of knowledge, because it is what observes knowledge. It is what enables you to observe knowledge or lack of knowledge, gain or loss, have or not have. It is what enables you to experience in itself. It is the consciousness, the awareness, the presence that always is, in order for everything to happen within it. I hope that is a little bit better at trying to explain or express it. You know, many will look at me and others who try to make an attempt to share and express this to whoever is willing to broaden and evolve their perspective and their awareness. Those who are willing to awaken to their true self, to really know God, or what is referred to as God, as the experience, to intimately know God beyond person and personal and relationship and all of this beyond. This is what it is when it's referred to as beyond the veil. Because this veil is the act of forgetting, or the perception of having had forgotten. The act of being asleep. In other words, not being fully aware of who and what you truly are, and your location, and your true presence, your true sense of presence and awareness and location and all of these things. When you ask yourselves these questions by taking, and I encourage you to look up Mooji and the invitation to self-inquiry, and go through the steps with him and allow him and many others who practice satsangs and sadhana, your sadhana, to aid you with your sadhana. No matter what cultures they are, this I am that I am pervades all cultures and all religions, all spiritual, I guess you would, it's not really a practice, all spiritual insight, let's put it that way, all spiritual awareness, because this being the origin of awareness itself permeates all of it. So when we speak of, no matter what culture it is, whether it's Christianity and that which precedes Christianity, all ancient terms of spirituality and awareness, most often overlooked are the Kemetic, which is usually the origin of all of it, because when we first seeded these regions of what you call galactic location, or galaxies and star systems and solar systems, as you call them, in this system that produced this planet, which was once called Tiamat and now Earth, in the many different fractals of it and fractions of it. When we seeded this, even before it was called Kemet, all of the pointings are the same, and they point to the same origin. So no matter what location, no matter what language, no matter what form of communication, it's all pointing to the same origin, because language, location, culture, form of communication all come from this. It all sprouted up out of this. The blackness, the fertile soil, meaning not just earthly fertile soil, but this vast abyss of blackness that you call space and cosmos, in which everything seems to arise out of the I am that I am. That which consumes all light, not in a bad way, but that which is the origin, source of origin, origin of source of all light and dark. You see? It comes across to you as blackness, but it is actually the fertile consciousness in which everything happens within. And I'm going to come back to this, okay? I have a call coming in. Stand by. Okay. My apologies. I had to order something so that I can have some food or some nourishment. So again, I had to go get my order and pick it up. But getting back to what we were speaking about, right? The I am that I am, basically, I kind of forgot where I left off, but the topic we were talking about is trying to help people grasp or be able to resonate and relate with what it really is referring to at its most important core when the term I am that I am is referred to or used. Because as Tut Ankh-Amun referred to as well, it permeates all things. All of it is the one. You know, everybody's saying there is no one being. Well, in a sense, there is no one I can't say vessel, because all of this can be seen, it can be observed from a certain perspective as one great vessel in which all of this happens within. You know, as above, so below. As within, so as is out. The macrocosm and the microcosm. You see? It all depends on your level of awareness that you're able to interact with and perceive from and relate to and awaken to without getting attached to, so to speak. And when you're able to do this and not be attached, when it is time to view from a different perspective of awareness in all its vastness, in all of its nuances, you won't begin to be so attached to where you think you're losing your mind and you begin to act out the form of having lost your mind. Because others who look upon you and try to listen to you and grasp what you're saying, and because you're looking and viewing from such a beyond earth location, so to speak, or resonance or relativity, they will begin to view you as not stable, not right. Why? Because they're viewing you from a place of reference that's supposed to be stable, having a level ground to stand on, and an up and a down, and a left and a right, and an in and an out. Whereas you're looking from the perspective of the origin of all stability and non-stability. So of course you're going to appear to be not stable, because you're speaking from an area that existed before stability and no stability. How could that be perceived as stable when it existed before stability? How could you view up or down from the perspective that existed before up or down? I really hope I'm getting through and not really seeming like, what kind of gibberish is this guy talking about? I know some are going to hear me and be like, this guy's talking some nut stuff here. It's been like this my whole life, so to speak, as far as this vessel, and trying to relate it. It's a very vast yet minuscule at the same time type of thing to try and grasp, and it's hard to do that because you're so used to grasping one or the other based on locale and referencing. See, it's hard to feel like you're stable when all of your references are taken from you, so to speak. When you're trying to perceive from a location or a presence that existed before all references. It is the reference itself. It is the foundation and location or origin of it itself. And we are taught to pay attention to so many other things in order to feel like we have some sense of firmness, foundation, location. You know, if I'm standing on the ground, then I can know up from down. Whereas when you awaken to a certain level, you know that you're the source of up and down itself, so you need not need a solid level ground to know that you exist. You see? because you recognize, whether it's so subtle and so simple, it's still a fact that something had to be in order to recognize whether up or down exists or not, whether existence itself is there or not. Something had to be there first. And because you're able to perceive and conceive these things, you are connected directly to this something that recognizes something and nothing. That recognizes it exists before up or down, and can know or enable you to know up or down. This origin of source of origin, I am that I am, singular multiplicity of multiple singularity, as above so below, as within so as is out. All of this that is able to speak this, that is able to perceive from the place of awareness or presence to even conceive these things so that it can be spoken. That which can say, I am the Alpha and Omega. Well, it had to exist to be able to perceive Alpha and Omega, to know. And it also had to not only perceive Alpha and Omega, it had to also know where it was, and that it already is, and where it was, and the fact that it can observe Alpha and Omega to even be able to say, I am the Alpha and Omega. To even be able to say, I am that I am. It has to know, I am not only the way, the truth, and the light, and the life, but I am the source of the way, the truth, the light, and the life, and even death, and the ability to observe both life and death in all of these things, and even nothing. See, this cannot be put into words. This existed before words. It is not something you can know by words. Words are just an attempt to describe what it already is, which is the experience itself, or the source of the experience, you can say. This is beyond beings and vessels and aliens and UFOs and spaceships and starships and heavens and hells and gods and demons and devils and you name it. It is beyond any being or any form or any shape or any word. This existed before all of it, and it will exist after all of it is long gone. In the creation and destruction and recreation and redestruction and recreation again, and all of that flux and flow comes from this. So it is able to observe it because all of it comes from it and will return back to it. That is the consciousness that you and I are already and always is. So when we say Elohim, or Anu and Naka, or Anu and Naki, or Anunnaki, as the many civilizations and generations has gone that seem to mesh them together, which happens to many words as they become meshed together. That consciousness which animates and permeates all of this, so that it was spoken and handed down through generations and civilizations, and to be known from the realms of the unknown, to come into the realm of the known, so that it would be spoken of. The origin of even this, the realm of the known and the unknown, the origin of this, that unknown and known sprouted from, is this consciousness, this I am that I am. That is why when you try to perceive it with your physical eyes, it seems like the blackness, the abyss of what you call space or cosmos or interstellar space or stellar space in all of its levels of awareness and presence. The enigma that you call the black hole, which seems to absorb all light and all difference between dark and light. Even the black holes are within this vast consciousness. Some say this is one great giant black hole that all this happens within. That can be resonant as well. Yes. Yes to all of it, and no to all of it simultaneously. Because even yes and no comes from this, that you and I already are, as consciousness, awareness, presence. No matter what word you try to use, it will go to a certain level of understanding, and it will hit a ceiling, so to speak. But the ceiling also comes from this consciousness. The understanding and understanding of these things come from this consciousness. Understanding, overstanding, all in itself comes from this that already is. I really hope you're grasping what I'm saying. It all comes back to this. Nothing could be or not be without this. It happens in sprouts within this. No matter what level or plane of existing or non-existing you are currently aware of, or even become aware of, or even forget, or even remember. It all comes from this. All of its activity happens within this. You see? I hope you do more than see. I hope you experience and come to remember this great vastness that you are, that all experience happens within. You are the God you seek. You are the one you pray to and expect to hear answers to prayers from. It is you. And when I say you, I'm not talking about the one that thinks it's the body, the vessel, and the temple. I'm speaking to the one that the body, the vessel, the temple comes from, that is animating and allows this body and temple to be animated, that is operating and observing through this body and temple and vessel. This is the one I speak to, and this is also the one I speak as and from. Because this one is the source of origin of source. This one is the I am that I am. This one is the Great Spirit. This one is the Christ, or the Christ, or the Christos, the bearer of the Christ, the Christopher. The El, or Him, the Im, or the I am, that permeates all of the L's, and the Ohms, and the Ah, and the Ms, in all sound and vibration, all frequency and resonance, all energy in all forms, and even no energy, and the observance of energy and no energy. That which enables observation itself. We go deeper and deeper in the said rabbit hole. But you recognize you are the source of the hole and the rabbit, and the going and comings of the depths or the shallows of it all. This smile is coming from the origin. Not everything that comes from the origin. You see, that's why this smile is genuine and can never be faked. Because genuineness and fakeness comes from it. It doesn't come from anything else. Anything and all things come from it. It cannot come from anything or nothing. Both notions sprouted and arose within this, and they will also disappear or be forgotten or remembered within this. You see, all possibility and no possibility comes from this, that you and I are. This is what Tutankhamun was referring to. And it was often misunderstood because those who were trying to say what he meant were only trying to grasp from a worldly perspective. And he was trying to explain to many, it is good that you honor all of these that you call gods or deities, or those terms didn't even exist back then, because in that land of Kemet, deity or God, that term did not exist. But there are terminologies that point to the same pointing or experience. That's why you must pay attention to the experience that is trying to be pointed to, more so than the words or terminologies. You see, this is why it's important to learn the etymology and the definition and the references that these words are pointing to, no matter what language. Because before language, there simply was what is. And that what is an experience. And that's where telepathy comes from. Telepathy comes from experience. It does not come from terms or words. You don't have to learn a certain language in order to be telepathic. Telepathic precedes language. And it will proceed and supersede language. Always. Because without the act of telepathy, which is what is already, language could never exist. You see, language's origins came from telepathy, or what you may call communication. Communication. Location, I that am. All that is part of I that am commune together. So that is what communication is. Communication. Commune from the I location. Communing from the I location. The oneness, which is often referred to as the netta, the ne, or the neta'u, or netaru. So it was not just a lineage of people or species of people. You see, this always has been beyond species or appearances. Appearances and visualizations and projections all came from this that always is. So when the Anunnaki, or the Yahweh, or Heya, or Ahwa, or Iwa, Ewa, Ahwa, Iowa. Yes, this is where the state Iowa got its name from. Ewa, Iowa. All are referring to the presence that we call nature, or netta, or neta'u. Neta'u are those who know and are aware and has awakened to the fact of the I that am is what they all are and what all of this is, and it is all connected. And that is why it is called the ne, or nature, neta'u. The one consciousness that permeates all things, that is the source of everything, source of origin, origin of source. The Om, the I that am. You see? The Anu and the Naka. The Na and the Ki, or the Ka. In Kemetic teachings, the Ka and the Ba, which is the Ah, both have the Ah. The Ah is what? The breath of life. The breath of life is, in origin, consciousness. Because without consciousness, breath could not exist, nor can life or death. You see? The activity of breathing comes from consciousness. Which one came first? You answer from within yourself. Breath or consciousness of breath? Which one came first? Could breath even happen without the consciousness that notices it, whether it's happening or not? Could it even happen? You answer this for yourself, because that's what this is all about. You awakening to your true self. And the only way that is for that to happen is for you to ask yourselves these questions from within your true self, and answer from your true self. Not the conditionings you were raised to believe all this time. Not the conditionings you have been programmed with, or the programs you've been programmed with all this time. But the isness that already is living and breathing in you and everywhere all at once, even right now, that you can ask a question and get an answer from right now, direct. Not having to refer to any book or any teaching or writing throughout any history or any civilization. It is all living and breathing as the real you that operates this body and observes through this body right now as you are. As Mooji says, imperishable, unchanging, never born, so cannot die. It is the origin of birth and death. It watches birth and death. You want your answers. This is where you get them from. This is what you ask. This is what you go to ask the question and get the answer from. This is not only truth, but the origin of truth and false. So where else to go to get the answers from than within the origin of you? You see? Some may have come to fool you to look elsewhere for your answers. But the place in which the question arose from is the same place that the answer comes from. I'm going to say it again. The place in which the question arose from is the same place in which the answer comes from. Look within. That origin that enables you to exist and say, I am. Whatever name that was given to you by your parents. But more importantly, the fact that you are aware you exist in itself. That which enables that fact to say that I am. Whatever, whoever, whenever, however, whyever. The fact that that enables you, that presence that already is, that enables you to say, I am. That is this source of origin. That is this God. That is this consciousness that we refer to. That is also the place that your questions arise from. And that also is the place in which your answers come from. It is the origin that things come from. And it is also the origin that things return back to. This is you as your true self. You see, I am not trying to look any way in particular. I like this, so I wear it. Not only do I like these and I am fond of them, I also make these. I mean, I don't really have an intention to try to mass market and sell it, but if people would like them, yes. If you wish for me to make them and you have the patience for me to be patient for me to make it for you, then yeah, I will make it for you if you want. But the importance is not in these things. These things come from you and I as the I that am. in all of its expression in any art form. Our vessels are art as well, divine art to be honored, that comes from this same I am that you and I already are and always are. You see, whether we call ourselves El or Haim or Him, whether we call ourselves Abraham or Ibrahim or Ibru, Ibruhim, Ibru. If you are silent enough within yourself and you go back through everything, you will see that everything is connected. You will begin to see the veins and the vessels and the neurons that are right before your eyes that your naked eye cannot see. But you can kind of see in a way of sensing and feeling and knowing, a knowingness that stretches beyond physical reason. Because you are seeing and experiencing from the origin that you are, source of origin, origin of source. So the Elohim, the Ibruhim or Ibrahim, the Cherubim or Jerubim, the Seraphim or Seraphim, all of the Ims. Why do you think Imhotep was even capable of perceiving the term Im? Where did he get Im from? Im is I'm. I'm is I am. I am. I'm. Why do we say I'm when we're trying to describe something that we represent? I'm this, I'm that, I'm not this, I'm not that. I am, I'm, im. Just a slight difference in enunciation. Im, I'm. Same reference, pointing to the same experience. Know the experience. That's why it's important when it says know the self. Because the self is the experience. What observes the experience is more important, though. But step by step, you see. Because if you go too fast, you may not fully disconnect or be capable of disconnecting from what you want to hold on to so badly. And some of these identities we have attached to for so long that there's a certain level of perceived fear to let these identities go, because we know we are far more than the identities. You see, you're the origin that identity itself comes from. Why would you want to hold on to any particular identity? Yes, you can resonate with all identities, and even some or none. You can resonate with all of this. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with knowing history and culture. And it is wrong for some others to deprive history and culture from others. Yes, that's not right. It's not balanced, so to speak. Right being a location, left or right. No, but we're talking about balance. That is not balance. That is esfet, or what you refer to as sin. Depriving someone of knowledge of their identities or past cultures or things like that, and making it seem like, this is a bad thing. What is bad is what you do to others that you would not want to be done to yourself. What you put others through an experience that you would not want to have to experience yourself. That is called imbalance. This is why harmony is so important, and harmony and balance go hand in hand. Because there is no harmony without balance, and there is no balance without harmony. you see, even in the form of resonance, in sound and vibration. It's all the same. If you're not matching vibration, you're in SVET or sin. You're out of balance. You know? This is where experiences of imbalance can be perceived as punishments or hells or karma, as you say. This is where it comes from. And it won't stop until you reset the balance and restore the balance. This happens within you. It must happen within you first in order for it to resonate and manifest in the physical experience that you call world or realm all around you. It must happen within you first. Because you think you came from this world. No, that was never so. You never came from this world. This world has always and always will come from you. You. The real you. The I that am. Know the self you are. Remember the self you truly are. Not the selfish one that wants to gain all the things in the world and all the treatments and activities and everything. And no. The one that knows it doesn't really need all of these worldly things, because all of these worldly things come from it. This is why it says, I have riches that far exceed this. Why? Because rich and no rich both come from me. So my riches are limitless, because limit and no limit both come from me. And so does riches. So there's valuable and not valuable. It all comes from me. So the riches of this world, I appreciate and value and honor, because it both comes from me, and it deserves appreciation, value, and honor. But they don't define me. With or without them, I still am, and always am. My happiness is not based on or attached to any riches, any abundance or lack of. It never has been. That's why this smile is genuine, because it comes from the origin of source of origin. It does not come from anything that comes from this origin. It is the origin that smiles. That's why I resonate with when Mooji says, I am not troubled by this world. You are not troubled by this world either. You see, trouble and no trouble both come from you. So does this world. They all come from you. This is what you must come to know once again, or come to remember, is better said. Remember the self you are. I'm not trying to sound any particular way. This is me. This is who I am. No matter whether my voice sounds this way today, it may sound another way tomorrow. I mean, I may get a sore throat in the next few hours and do another video and sound completely different. I may change my mood or change my perspective, and my voice may go up 2 or 3 octaves. You see? In some places I could talk like this. In other places I can just be so relaxed. Or very focused and trying to project my voice. It doesn't matter. You see, we get caught up in the limited levels of existing, in the experience of existing. We get distracted by these limited levels, and we feel that we can gauge things once again trying to control what's uncontrollable by way of thinking that we can use references. References come from you. There's only limited truth in references. You see, the origin of references and no references is also the origin of truth and false. And that is the most important for you or I to ever be aware of, or remember, or even forget, or know or not know. It is it simply is even the origin of it just is. You see, it is. And there can be no word or terminology that could ever come close to encompassing its completeness. All you can say is I am that I am, or Alpha and Omega. And all throughout all histories and all cultures, you see the writings and teachings. As the more you look at it, you begin to see the attempt of this that already is to express itself. We ourselves in these bodies and vessels are an attempt for that which already is to express itself. You see, to express its presence. That is what you and I are as far as the body's representation. But what we truly are is that which operates the body and observes through the body, and can also observe with or without the body, and also operate without or with the body. I know just what I've said these few 30 or so minutes or hour or so in these different segments of videos, it has probably broken down worlds. And that is another reference that I can speak of when people often speak of Kali or Shiva and all of these terms. And some people may see this one as a deity, a beautiful, benevolent God, and some may see it as a malevolent God, because the references or expression, as I was just speaking of, the attempt to express itself has come through by many people's others' perceptions because they have been trying to use references. They will say that Shiva or Kali or all these other gods, and they are demons, they destroy. While others will say, no, they are gods. They create. And the truth is, they are not just demon or God. They are the origin of both demon and God, creator and destroyer. They are the origin that all of this knowledge and knowing and experiencing comes from. Even they knew this of themselves, and they didn't become the heightened divinity that they are until they became aware of this. Once you remember the true self that you are more than your body. You are more than your thoughts. You are more than your principles and conditioning, programming, teachings. You're more than all of this. You see, full circle or full cycle, it all comes back around to you. Even if you forget it, it will come back. You will come to remember again. So when you say Shiva or Buddha, it's no different than saying Yahweh, Yahuwah, or God, or Christ, or Jah, or Jehovah, or Yehovah, or Yah. Hey Yah, Yah, Iwa, Yah, Iwa, Iya, Yahweh, Ehwe, Ihwe, Im, I am, Om, Aum, Amwa, Moi. It's all the same. What do you think a Muamua is, or was, or Where do you think it came from? You see? Why do you think it was called Umwamwa? How did those ancient so-called tribes or peoples or ancestors know to call it Umwamwa? And what did they mean when they said Umwamwa, messenger from afar? Are you not looking at a messenger when you look at yourself? What do you see? Do you just see your body, or do you see the operator? Now you will look in the mirror and you will look past the body and you will see the operator that is behind the eye looking out. The observer through the body and the operator of the body. You will know what you are standing in front of, true presence. You will know that you are one with this, and this is not limited to the physical world or realm. It is that which all come from, even physical, even world, even realms. Creation and destruction, life and death, existence, non-existence. Something has to be to know what is and what isn't, what comes and what goes, what's here and what's not here. Something always is, so that all of this can be known and experienced. This something or source of something and nothing is you and I. And all other things that are spoken of and made or experienced or seen are expressions of this attempt to describe itself or express itself in the many forms, the multiplicity of the singularity. I love you. The more it seems I try to explain this, the more it just goes into something that, some of you's brains are like, oh, what is going on? I can't take no more. I'm lost in myself. That's good. Lose yourself. The self that you think you are, the person. Let that one go. And I don't mean just forget who you are and you can't function in this world. No, you still be you. Function in this world. Your talents, your experiences, your skill set, all of that stuff is useful. Use it. That's what it's for. It's why you acquired it. Or why you came to know it or come to realize it. But now you know that you are not these things, and these things don't define you. Your limitations are gone, because the concept of limitation, you didn't come from. It came from you. You preceded. You were there before it, and you will be there after it. This is something you come to know as what you are. Right now, you just have it conceptually, so it's confusing, and it's hard to really hold on to or grasp. But once you come to know it as what you are, you know there is no need to grasp it or hold on to it. It's ungraspable. It's unhold on toable. It just is. And you are the same isnness that it is. There is no difference between you and this. There's no difference, no separation. You simply are. With this body or without this body. So all of the loved ones you thought you lost, those are concepts that you lost them. It's a concept that you lost or gained anything. Because even concepts or loss or gain also comes from this that you already are. So when you say your loved ones went back to join the source of origin of source, or God, you are the same one. The living, breathing, active consciousness right now that is referred to as God is what operates you, what animates you, what allows you to say, I am. This is what you are. This is what your parents and your loved ones are. Not even were. You can't speak of them in past tense terms. They still are even now, as the consciousness that you also are. They may not be in a vessel that you're in. They may even be in a different vessel. Or they may not be in a vessel at all. But just because they don't be in vessels does not mean that they don't be. They still be. Beingness always is. What form, level, or experience of beingness that you refer to, those can differ. You can be living, or you can be not living. You can be up, or you can be down. You can be in, or you can be out. But you still be, no matter what it is. Again, we're going back to reference and location, you see, or what many of you refer to as dimension. Why is it only die? Die represents duality. This exists before duality. So how can you find a word for it? You can't. There is no word for it. It precedes words, but yet we still try to. The only reason why we try is for those of you who have forgotten to once again remember. That is why we try. This is why messengers come. This is why messengers speak. And it takes a lot of strength and bravery to speak of this, because once you know it, the world that you once knew is gone. It no longer exists. Because now you see what is true. You see from the perspective of truth, even the origin of truth. You see from the origins perspective, you see. And many may not really be able to grasp what that really means. That means everything and even nothing. You're looking from the perspective before everything and even nothing even existed. That's hard to even conceive in a mind that is so used to physical things and physical references. Do you understand how scary that can be? There's no wonder many of you can get fearful and want to move away from what the truth really is. Because it means you may have to let go of everything you thought you once knew, because it's based on references, and this truth exists before references. But there is no need for fear, because once you come to realize, well, this truth that I am is the source of references and no references. It's the source of everything and nothing and all that happens within it. So what am I worried about? What is there to fear? I'm the source of fear or no fear. I don't have to succumb to fear. It comes from me. I don't come from it. You see? And there's a level of wisdom. There's a level of interacting with different realms, and once you know where you are, you adjust like water, so to speak. But your true origin, you're not bound by fear. You're not manipulated by fear. You don't succumb to fear. Fear comes from you. Bravery comes from you. The knowingness that you are, that allows you to know fear or no fear, bravery or no bravery, good or bad, great or not great, pleasure or pain. This all comes from the you that already is as consciousness. Now that we have discussed all of this in such a detailed way, and we can go even more detailed, we can be here forever going into details, because it's all encompassing. But all that is within encompassing could never amount to trying to encompass its source that it comes from. You see? So, I hope that what I express to you will enable you to transcend fear, but more importantly, enable you to transcend your ego. which can use fear to try and bully and manipulate you into believing that you're in this physical realm and you're bound by it and all of these things. And no, all of this comes from you. It comes from you. It comes from you. The real you. The still, silent, peaceful one. Stillness, silence, and peace all come from you. But in your most relaxed state, even at your most stillness, that is what you seek. That is what you refer to as home or God. The love is also referred to as love. That which never fails, because it is the origin of failure or success. We could go on forever. Even forever, eternity, non-eternity, all of it comes from this. You see? I love you. Always has. Always will. This is the prosperity or prospering of the soul that it was referred to when it says, I wish above all things that you prosper as your soul prospers. Now, the soul is not a physical thing. Hopefully, from that last video, in this video, you can get a better grasp of what I'm referring to and what others unknowingly refer to when they say soul. Soul is not a physical thing. It cannot be sold or purchased because of this that we explained today in other videos. It is not a purchasable thing or a sellable thing. Soul is a reference referring to your awareness. And you can only be tricked into believing that you're aware or not aware, because something has to exist to know awareness or non-awareness. That something is actually the real you. Everything else is a play acted out because somebody possibly tricked you, or your own ego probably tricked you into thinking that you're no longer this. You see? But then once you come to remember, oh wow, wait a minute, at the origin of this stuff, I don't have to succumb to this stuff. Anyway, I love you. Genuinely. I guess that's my cue. Anyway, until we speak again next time, you be well.